I'm Claire Bicknell. Welcome to our latest Catena cast. We've come over the border today to Leicester, to the offices of Champions UK, the brand agency. And we're here today to meet Matthew Hayes, the Managing Director of Champions. So I've just signed in, so I'm off up to his office. So I'm here today meeting Matthew Hayes, MD of Champions, the brand agency, and I must admit it's been a little while since I've been into your offices, and you've grown another office down at the end of the road there, which is amazing. And I was thinking that in the time that I've known Champions as a company, and I think 2006 was when I first became aware of you, to the time that you joined Catena when I'd first started, so we've been working together for 5 years, you have grown immensely. Talk me through that. It's been extremely exciting. I mean, we started 2003, and it was quite very much an incubator startup. So we had a very clear and defined idea of what we wanted to do, which was to be quite contrary in the marketplace to the traditional agency. It's been an ideal partnership working with yourselves because you're very much about people and introductions, and that was very much a core part of the business when we started it. But equally bringing some skill sets around the sort of marketing, creative services, but all of it being based around results rather than being based around the individual service entities. So as a startup, as a sort of 1-2 man band, that's quite challenging. Sort of bring that forward 15 years, and there's just short of 90 of us at head office. Wow. We're just about to go into our development of our third office, which is going to be our digital media centre. And that will start work in the next few months. And that will facilitate us to go to about 120 to 140 members of staff. Wow. So we've got some big plans from here. 2018 has been quite a significant year. We've grown dramatically just in the last 12 months. And we're just tipping the £30 million barrier. So that's been sort of quite an exciting trip over, I would say over probably about 7 or 8 years, which is where it kind of really started to take off. And I think what I define as to the why is going back to that very simple premise when we started, that we're very much based around results rather than the individual skill sets. And what I mean by that is that we offer what we now define as the perfect 10, which in our eyes are sort of 10 particular categories that are sort of listed here, that together give a brand or a business everything it needs to communicate its products, services to its potential customer group, but in one place. So we have, across the 90 people, highly skilled experts in each of those fields, but we bring it together into one campaign, so it's very, very easy from a client perspective because it's one singular point of contact, and then the campaign is run holistically from there. And the singular premise that we work around is what does our client need to get out of this? What does success look like for them? And then everything's built backwards. So we look at what the result has to be, and then we work backwards from that in order to what do we need to deliver in order for that to happen. So it's very much the result focus. That's interesting. So what's your ideal client? Do you have an industry specialisation, sector specialisation?
We don't believe in sort of niche specialisms. We believe in expertise, and we have experts in each of those fields, but we don't believe in being narrow in our service delivery. So that's one. And so carrying that forward as far as sort of industry specialism, we don't really agree with that either, for the simple premise that our clients are experts in their field. So if we're working with the motor industry, I don't need to know how the car is built. Or what the factory processes look like. That's what they're good at. Yeah. What I need to do, and Champions needs to do, is take its key points, the points that they want their potential customer base to understand, and to educate them accordingly. So our ideal client is someone really that's frustrated, that thinks that their business could be bigger, that they could reach more people, or that their services or products
has a bigger appeal than it currently does. That leaves quite a large universe for us to work within, but that's where we come to the fore. It's really taking those key messages and delivering those across a sort of a number of touch points in a campaign that is one core message and is consistently delivered.
Does that sort of challenge the concept that a business might know who their customers are, but you're exploring and challenging that concept to say there could be others out there as well?
Twofold. Absolutely, although for the most part we find that whilst they know who their potential customer base is, even if they're quite proactive, they're reaching them, but they're not reaching them as frequently or as consistently as they should do. So we work on a sort of a premise called touch points, and a touch point is anything from a personal recommendation to an e-shot to a video. Each one of those is a touch point, and it's shown in a lot of studies. It's largely an American premise, but there's been a huge shift since 2007 to 2015, where there is a need for between 11 and 15 touch points for somebody who wasn't consciously aware of what you do to be so and consider purchasing. So if you're quite active, you've still got to be very active to get to 15 touch points. And secondly, if it's inconsistent, and so the messages are blurred and they don't hang very well together, then you'll never get there, because each piece of activity doesn't actually link in with the next piece of activity. So from our perspective, it's about making sure that the messaging is very consistent, and then it's all building towards a necessary quantum. So there is a science behind it. It isn't all sort of fluffy, creative nonsense.
And I guess from your own perspective, you utilise a number of different points to profile exactly what you do. So you have events, you have the 3 magazines that I've seen downstairs, Aspirational, Inspirational...
And Inspirational London.
And Inspirational London, yeah. So again, new concepts, but all these can help you reach the people that you want to reach as well.
Very much so. I mean, sort of picking up on that sort of latter point as well. So reaching a known customer base is a challenge for a lot of businesses, even if they know them. And then our job is always to test and to push the boundaries, because there may be some insight that we can bring that they haven't necessarily seen, which is an untapped customer audience. And we're therefore constantly looking at that ourselves. We're looking at continually being innovators for ourselves and for our clients. So being out, constantly revisiting the model. We've just rebranded ourselves at the start of this financial year, 2018, to expand the service levels that we're offering, and to again step into some new territories. So media is quite a big part of that, and I suppose one of the reasons and the spin-offs for that is that we've had a big push in digital. In particular, over the last 3 or 4 years, we started sort of 8 years ago, but I've had a major drive all the way through to building a new digital media centre, which starts in September this year. Because the virtual world isn't going away, it's becoming bigger and bigger, and you just have to look at the likes of Amazon and the global dominance. And the reasons are very easy. We don't consume like we used to. Quite happily to buy something 11:30 at night, expect it delivered the next day. It's about convenience, it's about ease, and therefore it has to fit in with the consumer's lifestyle or your client's lifestyle. So the changing need to do that means that we need to change the way in which we go about communicating. And I suppose the most innovative innovation that we've launched in the last 12 months is our influencer services. So working with businesses and brands, and also influencers, vloggers, bloggers, YouTubers, to help both parties to
to maximise the opportunity that they have within their space.
Yeah, an interesting point about influencers. Laura and I were talking about that coming over, because obviously that's an area that she's got a lot of expertise in, and having studied at university, that element of it. So does that fit in very well with the celebrity management side of the business?
Yeah, it was a natural expansion for us. So we've been working in the sort of celebrity management area for about 14, 15 years, both representing celebrities and helping and developing their profile, but at the same time working with brands and helping them to partner with the right celebrity, because what it does is it instills trust. It also helps to, certainly in a lot of startup opportunities, being associated with a known celebrity brand can elevate a startup, because the natural association that they must be on equals in order to be working together and so forth. So, and that whole aspect of third-party recommendation as well. So they're all the sort of the strong elements of why celebrity is quite a powerful tool from a business and branding point of view. And so having the expertise in that marketplace of both representation and management, of talent and also of brands' interests, made us a very natural fit to evolve that into the new influencer world. And it's been absolutely phenomenal. We're working with over 150 brands in the first 12 months. And working on some, now very quickly working on some very big campaigns nationally, which are showing phenomenal results. The statistics showing the value return against expenditure is unlike anything else in the marketplace at the moment. So the industry statistics are showing that a typical business or brand will receive around £17 of income from every pound spent in influencer space,
Really?
which is a good 300 times traditional advertising routes. And those traditional advertising routes continue to be challenged and eroded. Sort of, newspaper advertising is struggling. The circulation numbers are doing so. Equally, sort of radio has a increasingly competitive space and natural challenges to it. Television is being somewhat sort of broken down because it hasn't got the dominance of 4 channels as it did 10, 15 years ago. So all of which are sort of quite challenging spaces, and also the growth of sort of internet viewing. So the traditional routes to market are being challenged, and which again, I suppose, is encouraging businesses and brands to think elsewhere. And it's also a very natural fit with any form of sort of digital media approach. It's very strong and beneficial for SEO purposes. So it has a lot of vicarious fallouts. In fact, one of the biggest is that you can monitor every single pound and find out exactly what it's delivered for you. So again, a lot of those traditional advertising routes have always been a challenge, because the brand manager, marketing director, MD, etc. are always wanting to know, well, I want to report what is it generated, and there's only so much intel you can give them. Yeah. Whereas this, every share, every point of engagement, every like, every piece of web traffic that's come from that is instantaneously reportable, which again is an extremely powerful tool.
Is there anything, any business that you think couldn't be helped by influencer marketing? I'm thinking principally of business connections.
There really isn't. Some are more naturally suited to it than others. So the professional marketplace can be quite a sort of a challenging audience when you're sort of putting a campaign together, but particularly end user groups, absolutely not. So in the likes of, say, an accountant, for instance, it's probably less so in the referrer market, but you have that very well covered. So
that's where I'm thinking. I'm trying to identify my own celebrity to come and market Catena. I'll leave that one with you.
But if you think about the business owner who needs accountancy services, or the entrepreneur, or there's a lot of peers that they would relate to, and then putting that in the context of the importance of having good financial advice as opposed to poor financial advice, and the impact that has on business decisions and so forth, the need for business information at your fingertips, and that to be accurate. So it's the way in which you put the context, and if it's, as long as you can find a peer-to-peer relevance,
then it's a marketplace that works. So I think it's just really about sort of finding the fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And that relates to every element of marketing. And I can remember when I first went into marketing, I think that we talked about the marketing mix, and I think there were probably only about 4 things, and you've identified at least 11 now. So yeah, it's the need to be innovative, open to suggestions, and trying things out, I guess. Isn't it?
And that's to be honest, that's where the fun comes.
Yeah.
Every year we know that we kind of have to revisit our skill sets, the models, and to challenge ourselves and to push ourselves. And as a team, that's sort of quite a big part of our culture. But just making sure that everything we're doing, again, is at least delivering the result that the client expects, if not exceeding it.
Interesting, you're talking about the team, and I know you're a family business. There are 5 of you in the business?
Yes, there's 5 siblings.
It's 5 siblings, yeah. So 6 and including the founder. So I think that's the way to describe it, isn't it, on that basis? So when you were talking about expansion, is that how you plan on populating the firm? Or?
No, I mean, when my father and I started Champions, they really weren't irrelevant. So 15 and a half years ago, my brother was sort of 7, so it really wasn't. It really wasn't on the forefront of our minds that he would come into the business and be a significant part of it as he is today, as with my 3 sisters. But there is absolutely something that stayed at the core for the last 15 and a half years and remains so, and that is family. We term it the Champions family rather than the Hayes family.
Yeah.
It's built around very much family ethos, looking after one another, supporting one another, and we work very, very hard to ensure that everyone feels part of Champions, that everyone has a role to play and a responsibility to each other to deliver that role. So the family ethos and culture is absolute today as it has ever been.
If I can interrupt you there, I can say that as a business and a person that has known you and Champions for many years, I feel that it goes beyond business. That I noticed even in your parking spaces there. Champions friends, not visitors, and that's a really nice touch, and I think it's very much appreciated.
Well, and again, we were kind of playing around that whole is it relatives, because our clients are part of the family, and it might sound cliche, but it isn't to us. It really isn't, because we genuinely care about what we do and who we're working for, because we have the opportunity to make a significant impact on other people's businesses, and actually invariably their family and their family life. So it's a great fun thing to do, because you can be part of other people's success, and there really isn't anything more rewarding. But you have to care, and so it is that kind of old-fashioned sort of personal service. The fact that we actually care about what we're doing and we care about each other brings it all back to that family unit piece, and it's very nice to hear that,
that makes
it's
the
felt.
I think. Yeah. So excellent. So we've done, how many years did you say it was? 15?
Just over 15.
Just over 15. So what does the next 15 hold for you, do you think?
I think at its core, much of the same. As I've sort of repeated, our core values have been very, very much consistent over the 15 years of caring about our clients, each other, being very, very result focused. That will be, those things that have made us what we are today. Is very much what's going to continue. Excellent. The ways in which we get there, however, will continue to evolve and change.
And that's part of the fun.
It is, absolutely. No client is the same, no 2 days are the same. So the digital side is going to continue to come through more and more. There's no doubt about that. And we work and do a tremendous amount of insight work and looking at the future and future planning. We're confident at this point we'll continue to stay ahead of the curve for ourselves and our clients.
Excellent. Matthew, thank you so much for
thank you very much.
The time with us, and I'd be grateful if you could let me have a glance into this champion's crystal ball for the future. It sounds really interesting.
With pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank
we'll
you.
see you soon.